Back here on CBS Sports HQ, and get ready for Tuesday. We get the first college football playoff rankings projections. This is the first, not the last, so let's all calm down, not overreact. Another date to keep an eye on, December 20th, is when the first round of the college football playoff starts. We got the quarterfinals on New Year's Eve and day. Semis are January 8th and 9th, and the national championship is set for January 19th. Talking a little brackets here, so we bring on our friend Brad Brackets. That's what we like to call him. And Mackenzie Brooks is here as well.
Brooksatology, I've been getting.
Brooksatology,
yes.
Love it. See, we've got the crew in. We're ready to talk. We're going to predict what we could see on Tuesday. So, Brad, I'm going to give you the floor. This is your best guess on what we'll see Tuesday night when the first bracket projections come out.
Yeah, I am curious, Emily, to see how much of an impact and emphasis this committee puts on ranked wins through Week 10. Alabama has 4, obviously leading the country right now, but they have that loss. Will we see the Crimson Tide be pushed ahead of unbeaten Texas A&M in these rankings? I think they will. You know, one thing we've learned these last few years with these made-for-TV specials on Tuesday nights, the committee makes a habit of talking points from these first rankings, trying to differentiate itself from the AP poll. So I think you're going to have Ohio State in the top spot, obviously has been the nation's most dominant team we've seen the first few months here. And then Alabama at number 2. That will be the biggest surprise. Alabama with those 4 ranked wins, as I mentioned. Indiana at 3, A&M at 4. That's the top 4 there. And then Georgia, BYU, Ole Miss. And then some collection of Oregon, Texas, Oklahoma. And my biggest surprise, I think Miami, not Georgia Tech, will be the highest ranked ACC team. I know Miami was number 18 in the AP poll today, slid down some spots. But don't forget, the Canes do have 3 wins over top 25 teams, and Georgia Tech only has 1. And giving up 600 yards on the road to a 4-4 NC State team, not great the weekend before the first playoff rankings come out. So I do think Miami is going to be looked favorably, at least for now, from that committee.
All right, so that's who Brad has in. We, of course, have lots of questions about who is out, but let's start with Our Lady in Crimson here. What do you think that they're going to do with Alabama and Texas A&M? Brad's saying that it could be the biggest surprise if Alabama is ahead of undefeated A&M.
I don't think it'll be that insane of a surprise here, because I agree. And again, we're trying to predict what humans are going to do, and recency bias obviously does play a large role in that. That FSU loss feels like 80 gajillion years ago. We were there, boots on ground, and apparently it did happen, but the committee might not look at it that way. You know, we've seen this time and time again, year after year. I guess it's only been 1 year of this 12-team playoff, but that would be a very interesting thing to see here. I'm shocked to see, Brad, that we see no Notre Dame on that list here, which is very, very interesting to me. But we can get on in to the Sportsline model projected bracket as well. Now, we're kind of looking through the full season here. But Brad, tell me about what's going on with BYU here, and we don't like Texas Tech.
Yeah, BYU's a team that I just think right now has less injuries than Texas Tech. Losing Will Hammond, backup quarterback behind Baron Morton, really hurts Joe McGuire's squad. Now, if Morton plays well next weekend and does not re-injure that knee, maybe Texas Tech does, take the crown of its preseason favorite in the Big 12 and goes on and wins out and makes the playoff. Texas Tech's by far the most talented team in the Big 12, but injuries are a concern right now. And Mackenzie, you mentioned Notre Dame not being in the top 20. I have them as the second team out right now because the G5 is going to get a representative. If Notre Dame wins 10 games, I do think the Irish are in. But, man, Saturday's lackluster win at Boston College, that's not going to do the Irish too many favors, especially when Notre Dame's only beaten 1 top 25 team at this point.
All right, so you have Notre Dame as the second team out. I'm curious, who's the first team out?
Vanderbilt right now.
Okay, so what was the thought process? Yeah, well, I want to know the thought process going, like head-to-head, obviously, with Texas and Vanderbilt, but resume-wise, very similar. I mean, the Doors have 3 ranked wins. Texas has 2 in the top 10. Obviously, more opportunity ahead, but what do you think? Because obviously, it's not your thought process. It's what you think the committee will do. So what do you think the committee will do with Vanderbilt versus Texas?
Yeah, to put it simply, I don't think the committee is going to have 8 SEC teams in its top 10. It's just going to be an ugly reaction Tuesday night if that's the case. Greg Sankey will be tooting his horn, but nobody else will from outside the SEC. Vanderbilt's got a pretty good shot here. I do think Tennessee losing at Oklahoma at home actually hurts Vandy's chances because I assumed that the Commodores were likely going to win out and then beat a top 25 Tennessee team at Neyland later this month. But y'all, Tennessee might not be ranked here in a couple of weeks, barely hanging on to a top 25 ranking right now with only one top 25 win. So Vanderbilt obviously having a great season right now with Diego Pavia under Clark Lee as the head man there, but still needs, there's still work to be done for the Commodores to impress this committee.
Let's keep in that realm of the at-large bids from the SEC here, because Texas being in obviously an interesting spot. Do you think that this team could end up going 9-3 and still secure that spot, or do you think they're going to split with Georgia or Texas A&M, and which one do you think they would even take?
Yeah, Mackenzie, I think that if Texas makes the playoff, it would be as a 3-loss team. I've got Texas right now as my last team in, actually, in my Brad Crawford projection, not what Tuesday night is going to look like. But if they're able to split top 5 games remaining against Georgia, that one's on the road, and then they play likely an 11-0 number 2 or 3 A&M team in Austin rivalry weekend. I mean, if you win a top 5 game late, then that's a quite resume booster for the Longhorns. And we're talking about a team that played out of conference against the number 1 team in the country that has not lost a game yet, Ohio State. So I do think Steve Sarkisian, he's righted the ship a little bit. Obviously that helps when you have a string of games against Kentucky, Mississippi State, and a better Vanderbilt, but it's still Vanderbilt. So Texas got a chance here in November to still make the playoff as long as it wins 2 of its final 3 games.
That's why we're doing this exercise now, so there are less surprises on Tuesday. Brad Crawford, thank you for walking us through your projected bracket. We'll see how accurate it is. Hey, our friends at Sportsline are doing projected brackets all the time. Mackenzie Brooks is always cooking up the Brooksatology, as we like to call it. You can get 60% off an annual plan with the promo code WINNERS. Scan that QR code now and head to sportsline.com.